In my previous video I had discussed about using an external power source for your camera, such as a dummy battery here. And before you do that, for the sake of the safety of your camera, I'm going to tell you some things that you should be aware about and show you what you should do to make sure that what you're doing is not going to damage your camera. Because when you use something like a dummy battery and insert that into your camera, you are providing a power from its power source at this end. This is where you connect whatever the power source you want to use. Okay. The first one we're going to discuss is the converter. It's a AC to DC converter. It comes with the dummy battery, and we're going to test voltage. And this is what you should do before you actually power your camera with the dummy battery that you buy. And how you can do that is with a voltmeter. They're fairly cheap. They don't cost a lot. And what you want to do is you want to set this to DC voltage, and take something like this that has 2 pins at it. You want to find out, see on the battery it has tabs here. 2 of them are for the power and the other are for other functions, but the 2 of them are for main power. You got negative here and positive here. And so to test this, I'm going to set this up like this so you can see it. And hopefully the screen is not glared and you can see the voltage. You can see that it's 8.3 volts. A fully charged battery on a Fuji X-T3 or any Fuji X series like X-T30 or something, they use the same battery. The capacity on the battery tells you that it's 7.2 volts. Okay, but it's really 8.3, and the camera needs 5 volts to power, but it'll take the 8. It has a voltage regulation inside of it, but as you use your battery, the voltages go down, and I'm going to show you that. So we have here 8.3 volts. And we're going to plug our converter that the dummy battery comes with, and we're going to plug that into our AC power source. And then what we do is we plug in our USB to it. And this looks exactly like a battery, but this is the connectors here, and it would tell you exactly what the voltages should be. So we'll put here on positive, 1 on negative, and you get 8.4 volts. Now that's very close. That's it. You know, that's exactly what should be coming out of here. 8.4 volts. Alright, so we know that using this DC power converter that we plug into the wall, so we could use this to power our camera for any amount of time that we want, as long as we have electricity flowing. Now, another power source you might want to use is a battery pack, like the Anchor Power Core or something like that. These have power delivery, and it's not just a charging unit. And so we're going to plug that into this. This is great because you can put this in your pocket, you could attach it to your rig for video. It's great. And these are the equivalent to about 15 of these. And so this will give you a little bit over 8 hours of camera time in video mode. You're shooting 4K 60 frames per second. I've done it. So anyway, so we're going to take this and we're going to test out the voltage that the Anchor Power Core will give us, just to make sure. And it's 8.4 volts, exactly what we are getting from the wall outlet and the battery. So when we plug this in here, we're getting exactly the same thing as the battery gives out. not giving too much voltage, it's not going to fry the camera. So we know that this is going to work using this Anchor power core, and it's going to be no problem. And we also know it's going to work using this wall outlet. Now if you change this, for some reason if this breaks and you get another one from somewhere, whatever it is, and you hook this up, you want to make sure and do this test again to make sure that this is not going to output too much voltage. I can give you a link on the description below of a YouTuber who fried his camera using a demo battery with a power converter that sent 20 volts to his dummy battery, and it fried his camera. And the most reason for that was because he was using a dummy battery that just had a straight wire. This, however, has a voltage regulator in between. See, so when you get power from here sending to here, this is going to make sure that not too much voltage is going to reach here. And so this is built for specific camera specifications, and so that way it's going to make sure that you get 8.4 volts, no more than that. So this is, when you get a dummy battery, you want to make sure that there's something in between the dummy battery itself and the power source connector. You want to make sure in between there's like a square, some of them are oval, whatever, but you want to make sure there's a boxed unit in between, because you know that's going to regulate the voltage. But you still want to do the test with the voltmeter like I just did. And if you don't, you have the chance of damaging your camera, even frying it. So you want to make sure that you are going to use the proper power when you do something like that. Now there's another way that I can power this camera without this dummy battery, with the Fuji X-T3 and this Anchor power cord. This is a USB-C to USB-C, and what I would do is I would plug this USB-C in here, and then I would plug the USB-C into this camera, and it would provide power to my camera even while I'm using it, as well as charge it as well. But this method is not really as efficient as this, because the battery inside the camera will eventually run out. It just makes it use less battery, which is a lot less. I mean, you could get about 6.5, 7 hours of runtime doing it this way. But using the dummy battery with the Anchor power core, you get about 8 or so for some reason. But so this is my advice to you. If you do get a dummy battery for your camera, you want to make sure that it meets the specifications for your camera. The same type of battery, obviously, it would be written on it, or it would be in the specifications. And you want to make sure there's a voltage regulation in between the power source and the dummy battery itself. And you want to use a voltmeter and test the voltage that is going to be at this end before you actually put this into your camera. I hope this was helpful to you, and if you like it, you can click the thumbs up, and thank you for watching.